afternoon. I'll try my best to not let you fall asleep. I know it's been a long day, amazing presenters. But yes, as Mindy mentioned, I've worn a lot of hats. And if there's one thing that I've learned is that great experiences isn't just about well-crafted, usable, accessible screens or flows. It's about trust. And that's why today I want to take you through how we can design for trust in the age of AI, because the decisions that we make as designers and as product people don't just shape screens. They shape beliefs, behaviors, and the interactions between humans and intelligent systems. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we meet today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to elders, past and present. This presentation is divided in two parts. In the first part, I'll take you through a bit of context of artificial intelligence and why trust is so important for this technology. And on the second part, I'll show you some practical examples on how we can design for trust. And I'll start by telling you a story about my husband, and it'll make sense in a minute. My husband's been applying for jobs for the past 2 to 3 months, maybe a bit more. Every application, every cover letter, carefully written, tailored, and submitted with hope. It's estimated that up to 90% of job applications are screened by AI systems before a human ever sees them. That means an algorithm is often the first and sometimes the only judge of his worth. Scanning his resume, scoring it, and determining whether he and many other job applicants out there get a shot at the dream job. And this is the reality we're designing in. It's not just interfaces. We're designing expectations, accountability, and trust in systems that most people can't see or fully understand. Artificial intelligence is everywhere. I don't think I need to remind you of that. It's embedded, it's invisible, and it's making decisions that affect people's lives. It's there when you unlock your phone using your face. It's in your GPS when it reroutes you to avoid traffic. It's on your social media feed, curating what you see. And it's in the mortgage chatbot that can instantly approve or deny a home loan. So I think it's safe to say that it's not just a quiet part of our lives. Before we even have our first coffee, AI is already curating, navigating, and informing our days. Here's the thing, though. Technology is moving really fast, but trust moves at walking speed. And when we have these really smart systems deciding who gets seen, who gets a home, or who gets a job, trust is no longer a nice to have. It's our responsibility to design it in. It's got to be intentional. Why? Because trust is a crucial factor that can help us neutralize the uncertainty and the failure risks of this technology. For designers, that means that we can influence how this invisible power shows up. Not later, now. And I told you this before. When we design for AI, it's not just interfaces. We're shaping expectations, norms, and in some instances, we're determining livelihoods. And I don't know about you, but that feels like a lot of responsibility packed into a single Jira ticket. So we better do it right. AI is having amazing impact across many fields. Google's AI is helping to detect preventable blindness in people with diabetes. In Sydney, councils are piloting new software. That makes no sense. In Sydney, councils are piloting AI to... Oh, did I mess that up? Can you guys hear me all right? They're piloting AI to help cut through New South Wales' complex planning laws, turning month-long renovation approvals into weeks. And it's also benefiting and augmenting our own design process, from ideation and wireframing to prototyping, vibe coding, content creation, and research synthesis. I used AI to help me prepare for this presentation today. It helped me structure my slides, I created some of the visuals, and it helped me with some practice runs. At REA, we use an AI not just to power our product and experiences, we're also using it internally to drive up productivity and innovation across the business. We've recently launched an AI agent that we created for our design system, ConstructKit. And we did this using tools that have been made available to all our EA employees, where we have access to a private and a safe environment where we can tap and use models from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. And this is great because it's helping build AI literacy. It's helping us identify opportunities. But the most important thing is that it's helping us understand the implications of this technology. So let me tell you what we did. We wanted to bring our design system closer to the people that are actively using it, so that instead of designers and developers having to go through pages and pages of documentation, they can now simply open up the ConstructKit agent, ask it a question, and get instant answers around things like onboarding to the design system, contributing to components, API documentation. Not just saving time, but contributing to the vision of our design system, which is to enable designers and developers to develop great experiences faster. Equally, AI has a darker side. From misinformation, disinformation, environmental impacts, copyright, bias. I'm sure you've heard the news, seen many terrible things as well. Maybe some of you remember back in 2018, Amazon had to shut down its AI recruitment system after it was found that it downgraded resumes that included the word women. A more recent example of that is Workday. They are facing a class action lawsuit against alleged discrimination in recruitment. A more recent example of that is Arup, which is the British multinational design and engineering firm, being the target of a scammer attack using deepfakes to trick one of these Hong Kong employees into transferring $25 million. That is a lot of money. And of course, who can forget when Google told us to add glue to Pixar? Bias can also be present in this generative AI. And we've got these amazing generation tools, image or video generation tools, that can continue to perpetuate gender bias. I recently asked ChatGPT to create an image of me based on our past interactions and what it knew about me. This is what it gave me. And it didn't quite click until I saw it rendered a white male version of me that you can see how it shows up. And why does this happen? Because these models are trained on vast data sets that can often overrepresent and underrepresent certain groups. So the bias gets learned and repeated at scale. So the stakes are real. These can be shipping to production mistakes that erode public trust. And we have AI regulations tightening. And the cost of a misstep is not just a terrible PR nightmare. You've got legal liabilities, financial penalties, and privacy violations. For designers, every interface decision we make can either build trust or break it. And take something as simple as Carlo's chatbot support customer example. Imagine you've done some late night shopping and you may have gone a little bit overboard and you want to return some of the items. But you've got a few questions around shipping and maybe if it's going to cost you. So you jump on the website, you're welcomed by this support chatbot, you're asking it questions, it keeps giving you the wrong answers or worse, no answers at all. And there's no way for you to escalate and speak to a human. It's frustrating. But worse, you start to lose confidence in the entire experience. And just like that, trust starts to slip. A recent study by KPMG showed that 50% of Australians approve of AI, but only 36% are willing to trust it. That's a big gap. And that is not a tech problem. That is a design challenge. I want to share with you the concept of calibrated trust. Trust is not binary, it's a scale. On one side, you've got no trust, which is harmful and bad for business, because if people don't trust your brand, they're not going to use your product or services. And on the other side, Overtrust is dangerous because when users blindly accept AI outputs, we're not enabling intelligence, we're enabling silent risks. Think misdiagnosed patients, denied services, or misinformed decisions at the back of hallucinations. So I want to share with you the concept of calibrated trust. Calibrated trust is the responsible use of AI outputs, where your users are aware, they know when to lean in, when to question and take control, because the way that we've designed it makes it natural. Think of this trust scale as a mental model for intentionally designing and managing users' trust. In the next slide, I'm going to share with you 3 principles that can help us achieve calibrated trust. The first one is start with intent and solve real problems. I'm sure you've all heard this before, but don't do AI for the sake of AI. AI that doesn't serve a need or a pain point becomes noise, and people mute noise. Start small and scale smart. Earn trust through small wins before you decide to tackle high-stakes moments within a journey or experience. And just like your traditional product development and experimentation and starting with MVPs, AI needs the same, if not more. So between you and your team, decide what is the smallest thing that you can release that delivers genuine value and allows you to learn fast. And the last one is be honest and realistic. Don't overpromise and admit where there are limits. Trust is earned through consistent human-centered experiences. Okay, so I'm going to pause and I'm going to do a quick recap of what I've covered before I go into some of the examples. AI holds the potential for great things, but also for harm. With AI making decisions that affect people's lives, trust is no longer optional, it's essential. That's why calibrated trust is critical for the responsible use of AI outputs. And I took you through 3 principles that can help us achieve that target zone of calibrated trust. But principles alone are not enough. Trust will be built or broken through what we actually design. So I want to share with you 3 patterns that we can use to design for trust. Number 1 is design for inclusion. Number 2, design for transparency, and design for control. I'm going to take you through some examples of each of those. Starting with designing for inclusion. This is where it all begins, with an idea. AI, it's better at some things than others. So make sure it's the right technology for the problem you're wanting to solve. You design inclusion through responsible practices from the very beginning. It starts when you start to map your user journey to identify pain points, and it starts when you critically assess whether AI is the best solution for that. Once you have an idea, you need to have clear boundaries and guardrails around it. You need to identify what it's going to do, but equally and most importantly, what it's not going to do. What harms should we actively avoid? Who might you be excluding? And find the sweet spot, which is the intersection between time-consuming, frustrating, or repetitive tasks, your business goals or metrics that you're wanting to drive, and a clear definition of what good looks like. And please align early with your privacy, your legal, or your policy teams to understand what the non-negotiables are. Once you've got an idea, you have your boundaries and guardrails, focus on mitigating unintended consequences. And this is when you test or put your idea or concept in front of a diverse group of users so that you can start to spot potential bias. Your AI system will need data, and it's your responsibility and that of our team to question where the data is coming from. Who is it overrepresenting? Who might it be missing? And this is when we design for graceful failure, for edge cases and failure states. Because make no mistake, at one point or another, your AI tool or system is going to give you an incorrect or unexpected outcome. So we can't just map the happy path. We need to design for where things will break. And then build time to intentionally break them so that we can stress test the experience and find the weak points before you release to your users. The next pattern is designing for transparency. And this is about making the system's decisions logic and limitations clear to your users so that they can understand, question, and trust what it's doing. And you do this through visual cues. Flag to your users when AI is present, active, or something's being generated with it. You can use this through consistent icons, labels, or motion to show that the AI is present. I'm sure you're familiar with the AI overviews from Google and the blue sparkle. I've got my own opinions about the sparkles, but it seems to have stuck. Set expectations. Be upfront about what the AI can't and cannot do. This is a hypothetical example of an AI translation tool that it clearly states to user that translations may miss cultural nuances or local slang. So they can calibrate the trust, reduce over-reliance, and build credibility. Explainability. Explain what the AI flagged something or made a recommendation. And you can do this through showing how decisions are made, explain the data that is used, and expose confidence levels. The example on the screen is from our Real Estimate. Real Estimate is an AI-generated prediction of a property's value. When you track a property on realestate.com.au, you can see the real estimate for that specific property and includes a confidence level that ranges from low to high, plus a tooltip that clearly explains to users what the real estimate is, the data that was used for its calculations, and how the value was estimated. Transparency builds clarity, which builds trust. Privacy. And this is the last one around the transparency pattern. Be transparent about how you handle, store, and use users' data. I'm sure you're all familiar with Zoom. The example on screen is from the AI companion. Maybe some of you have used it. In this case, the host activated AI companion so that they can transcribe and generate summaries from the meeting. The participants receive a notification that the AI companion is active, which they can then request for it to be switched off, and they can be informed around how the tool uses the data. And the last examples I'm going to cover is around designing for control. And this is about allowing your users agency when interacting with AI so that they can influence or override what the AI is doing. It could be as simple as feedback loops. Give the user a quick way to indicate whether the AI tool or system is helpful and/or accurate. The example is one from our property details screen. We've recently launched this feature. We wanted to tackle some of the key pain points across this part of the experience. And using AI, we're able to surface core property highlights to help users quickly identify if this property meets their needs. We know that the AI won't get it right 100% of the time. So that's what we build these feedback loops, so that users can flag when the AI missed the mark. And it's these feedback loops that actively helps our users improve the feature. Accountability for failure. I told you that at some point or another, your AI system will give you an unexpected or incorrect answer, and that we have to intentionally design for those moments, so that when it does fail, we can clearly tell them what went wrong, guide recovery, and do it transparently. The example here is from Claude. In this case, the user asked Claude who won the 2024 US election. Claude can't answer that question because of the cutoff days for the model. But it's letting users know that it can't give you the answer, it's providing alternatives, and it's making it easy for them to take action. And the last example, before I close up, is human in the loop. And this is the ability for the user to override, edit, or intervene. This is from Notion. Notion lets you draft, summarize, and edit content. But ultimately, it's up to the user who controls the final version. And you can see it in the dropdown. You can accept, discard, or try again. This type of human-in-the-loop pattern is most critical in moments when there is high risk, low certainty, or high-impact situations. Think financial, health decisions, safety, or legal outcomes. All right. I've taken you through some practical examples, and I hope you found them helpful. For those who are already designing AI-powered experiences, or for those who are early in the journey. But if this is not the type of design that you do, I still hope that you found this helpful, and it's giving you the awareness on what to consider and what to watch out for next time that you interact with AI. So I want to close with this. The trust gap is real. The stakes are high. But I do believe that as designers, we're positioned to close this gap. One interface, one interaction, and one honest conversation at a time. And if there's one thing that you take from the last 20 minutes that I've been speaking, please let it be this. The future of AI isn't just engineered, it's designed. So let's design it right. Thank you.